You know, those moments in life that are so awkward, so cringy, they get permanently burned into your memory? Like, you can replay them in perfect, high-definition detail years later? Well, I've got one of those for you today. A story so uncomfortable it still makes my face feel hot just thinking about it. And it all started on what was supposed to be a perfectly normal, relaxing day at the beach. So, picture this. It's a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. The sun is out, not a cloud in the sky, and the weather is just perfect. I decide to escape my apartment and head down to the local beach for a few hours. Just me, a good book, and the sound of the waves. The plan was simple. Get some sun, maybe take a quick swim, and just generally unplug from the world. I find a great spot, not too crowded, lay out my towel, and get settled in. I'm reading my book, minding my own business, feeling totally relaxed. An hour or so goes by. It's pure bliss. The beach is starting to fill up a bit more, but it's all just background noise to me. Families laughing, kids splashing in the water, the usual beach day soundtrack. This is where things start to take a turn. I look up from my book for a second to stretch, and my eyes just kind of wander across the crowd, and that's when I see her. It's my neighbor, Sarah. Now, when I say neighbor, I mean we live in the same apartment building, on the same floor, just 2 doors down. We're not friends, but we do the classic neighborly nod. You know, the hey in the hallway, the awkward small talk while waiting for the elevator, crazy weather, we were having that sort of thing. We've lived near each other for about 2 years, so it's a familiar face. She's with a group of her friends, laughing and having a good time. I think to myself, oh, cool, it's Sarah, and I give a little wave. It's one of those half-hearted, from a distance, waves. She sees me, her eyes light up with recognition, and she waves back with a big smile. Okay, pleasantries exchanged, duty, Dan. I can now go back to my book, and we can both pretend we do UNTC each other for the rest of the day, as is the unspoken rule of running into acquaintances in public. So I dive back into my book. Another 30 minutes pass. The sun is getting pretty intense, so I decide it's time for a swim to cool off. I put my book down, take my shirt off, and start walking towards the water. The water feels amazing. I'm just waiting around, enjoying the cool relief from the heat. I'm not paying attention to anyone, just enjoying the moment. After about 10 minutes, I start heading back to my towel, and this, my friends, is where the universe decided to play a cruel joke on me. As I'm walking out of the water, shaking the water out of my hair, my eyes are still a little blurry from the salt water. I'm walking towards my spot, and I happen to glance over in the direction of Sarah and her friends. It happened in slow motion. I swear, time literally slowed down. At the exact moment I looked over, Sarah was in the middle of changing her bikini top. I guess she was swapping a wet one for a dry one or something. Her back was mostly to me, but she was kind of turned at an angle, and for a solid, horrifying 1 to 2 seconds, my eyes landed directly on something they were not supposed to see. I saw everything. There's no other way to put it. I accidentally saw my neighbor topless. My brain completely It was like a system error, a blue screen of death for my social skills. A million thoughts fired off at once. Look away. Look away now. Oh my God. Did she see me? See her? Don't be weird. Abort. Misha. I whipped my head around so fast, I think I strained a neck muscle. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I felt my entire face, neck, and chest flush a deep, shameful shade of red. I did this panicked, awkward stumble walk back to my towel, trying desperately to look at anything else. The sand, the sky, a particularly interesting-looking seagull, anything but in her direction. I got to my towel, practically collapsed onto it, and grabbed my book, holding it up like a shield. My hands were shaking. I was pretending to read, but the words on the page were just a meaningless jumble. I couldn't focus. All I could think was, she definitely saw me. She knows. She thinks I'm some kind of creep. My mind was racing. How do I navigate this? Do I pack up and leave immediately? That would look super guilty, right? Like I saw something I shouldn't have and am now fleeing the scene of the crime. But if I stay, what happens? Do I have to make eye contact again? The casual, friendly beach day was officially over. It had been replaced by a high-stakes psychological thriller, and I was the unwilling star. I stayed frozen like that for what felt like an eternity, hiding behind my book. I kept trying to sneak a glance over without actually looking, the move where you use your peripheral vision. It's a terrible strategy, by the way. You can't actually see anything, and you just end up looking shifty and weird. I was convinced she and her friends were all looking at me, whispering and pointing. There he is, the guy from 4B, the pervert. My paranoia was at an all-time high. My relaxing beach day had turned into a self-inflicted nightmare. All I wanted was to be teleported back to my apartment, safely hidden away from all human contact. After about 20 more minutes of this internal torture, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I had to leave. I devised a plan. The pack and dash. I would pack my bag as quickly and nonchalantly as possible, and then walk away in the opposite direction of the ocean, so my back would be to her group the entire time. It was a flawless plan. So I began the operation. I casually folded my towel. I casually put my book in my bag. I casually slipped on my shirt. Every movement felt exaggerated and unnatural. I felt like a spy in a bad movie. Finally, with my bag packed, I stood up, took a deep breath, and began my strategic retreat. I walked away, head down, staring intently at my feet, never once looking back. I made it off the sand and onto the boardwalk, feeling like I had just escaped a disaster zone. The walk home was a blur of shame, and I was dreading the next time I'd see her. In the elevator. In the hallway. Would there be an awkward silence? Would she give me a dirty look? Would I have to move? Should I start taking the stairs? For 2 years, and sure enough, 2 days later, it happened. I was leaving for work, and as my apartment door closed, her door opened. We were face to face in the hallway. My heart sank. This was it, the moment of truth. I prepared for the worst. I braced myself for the cold shoulder, the accusatory glare. I just looked down and mumbled a "hey," and then she smiled. A completely normal, friendly smile. "Hey," she said, just like she always did. "Crazy weather we're having, huh?" That was it. There was no anger, no awkwardness, no sign that anything had ever happened. It was the most normal, mundane, neighborly interaction we'd ever had. And in that moment, I realized one of two things was true. Either she had no idea I saw anything, and I had spent 2 days torturing myself for absolutely no reason, or she did see me, see her, realized it was a complete accident, and was mature enough to just let it go and not make it weird. Honestly, I don't know which is the truth, and I don't think I ever want to find out. I am just so incredibly grateful that it did turn into the socially catastrophic event I had built up in my head. But man, I have never been so careful about where I look at the beach since. And let's just say the next time I run into her in the hallway, I'll be extra quick with that neighborly nod and keep on walking. So, what's your most awkward public encounter? Let me know in the comments, because I need to know I'm not alone in this. Thanks for listening to my story of ultimate cringe. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. See ya!